What is happening to me?
Did you miss me, Spidey?
I'm losing my mind. I am totally out of control. I gotta fix whatever this is right now.
Final semester MIT.
Dad, who do you think is actually watching these?
Maybe someone.
Okay, well, bye, someone.
What the?
Dr. Banner, you found a way to suppress mutating DNA, right?
If you see me with this stuff, run.
So could you get rid of the bad aspects but keep the good?
How would you decide what parts of nature are good or bad?
Sorry about that.
You're not one of my students, are you?
It appears we're faced with a threat we can't control. One we can't even see. You're the only one who's immune to it. You're the only one who can sense it.
What do you think they're looking for?
Oh, see, you stumbled across my board. I'm not one of those weirdos, I swear.
He's a little weird. I'm MJ.
You two don't know each other?
Yo, Spider-Man. You okay? Did you get rid of that monster inside you?
Think I might go see how MJ's doing.
You're not gonna get away with this.
But he might.
I didn't know you could get that big.
Hey!
But you're in danger. You just have to trust me.
Fine.
This whole thing can get really scary.
Who the hell is that?
Who the hell are you?
Frank, please. I don't have anywhere else to go.
By the people who love you,
Just gonna let him go by himself?
love you because you're you.
If you're gonna do something, you better do it now.
Never forget that. No matter how powerful you become.
I miss you, May. Huh. All right, just give me a sec. Give me a sec. I'm not in high school anymore. Oh. Did you stretch? You a big stretcher? It's so good for you. You ready?
Welcome to another episode of Cinema Sleuths. I'm Luke Deckard.
And I'm Matthew Booth.
And it's a brand new day for Cinema Sleuths as we investigate the brand spanking new Spider-Man movie starring Tom Holland, Spider-Man, brand new day. And Matt, we're seeing this like right off the cusp of seeing. I've literally just got home from seeing it. So yeah. This is this is probably the most fresh reaction you're going to get to a blockbuster that's just come out that I've just seen, and I'm sort of digesting my thoughts still. But you've also just seen it. You saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it a couple of days.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of days ago. But I mean, you're hot off the press, as it were.
I'm hot off the press.
Having seen, I think it was only a couple of hours ago, maybe. But yeah, I saw it a couple of days ago, so I've had time to sort of cogitate over it.
And I have not. But before we dive into the little potatoes or the big potatoes of it all, you asked me a question off mic. Yeah. Let's start with that question. Ask me your question again.
Well, I just asked you of all the sort of big blockbusters that we've seen so far in 2026, which do you think is the best, or which have you enjoyed the most?
Yeah. So everyone knows what I've seen this year, what we've seen this year, or a mixture of the two. Yeah. I have seen Disclosure Day, which I count as part of this. I've seen Disclosure Day. I've seen The Odyssey. I've seen Supergirl. I have seen obviously Spider-Man Brand New Day. Am I missing anything?
Masters of the Universe.
And I've seen Masters of the fucking Universe.
Toy Story 5.
I've seen Toy Story 5. Yep, true. What I would say is I at this moment in time, the film I've enjoyed the most this summer has been Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah, well, I've not seen as many of those as you, but of the ones that I've seen, I would absolutely agree with that. I had the most fun in the theater watching this than any, certainly than Disclosure Day. My God.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with that. I think overall, this is one that I enjoyed more than any of the others that we've watched and covered.
Yeah, I mean, a close second might be Toy Story 5, which probably says something about the other things. I can give it like a quick sentence or two review of things like the Odyssey and Masters of the Universe, because we've already done the others on the show, and you can go back and listen to those episodes. But the Odyssey, in summation, it's a Christopher Nolan film. It looks like a Christopher Nolan film. It's exactly what I expected of Christopher Nolan doing the Odyssey. Yeah. My big takeaway is that visually, it's quite fantastic. It's great because it's real sets, real, a lot of real people, very little CGI. So there's that groundedness to it. So I did enjoy that. On the flip side, I think Christopher Nolan is a bit of a coward when it comes to embracing fantasy. I think back in the day, he used to do it a bit more. You think of films like The Prestige, you think of Batman Begins, where there is actual magic and he plays with that. I think here, he plays it way too safe, and I think it's safe on the edges of just being flat out boring. I thought the fantastical elements were dull and uninteresting, and I just kept thinking, man, I wish I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean, because that balances like real world, but also fantastical gods and monsters a whole lot better and a whole lot more fun than what I'm seeing there. And also the film is so fucking loud, it pissed me off. Like legitimately, there were moments in the film that are so fucking loud and so fucking flashy. I was literally plugging my ears.
Wow.
I'm not being hyperbolic. I plugged my ears for huge chunks of this film only because it was just obnoxiously loud. For no other reason than that. So, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was exactly what you get with the Christopher Nolan film, because he's such a coward when it comes to embracing fantasy. I don't think it was well structured. I think Tom Holland was maybe one of the, and Zendaya were one of the weakest things, ironically, given the topic of our episode today, where I think they had stronger performances in the film we're about to talk about. So that's my takeaway with the Odyssey. I saw Masters of the Universe, and that film is terrible. What I can do real quick is I will just read you because I very rarely leave Letterboxd reviews, but I did write my thoughts down in Letterboxd. I'll just quickly read that, and then we can move on to Spider-Man. Truly awful. Poorly written, poorly edited, poorly acted, lacked originality from the story down to the aesthetics, an abysmal waste of time. Some claim the film is a commentary on what it means to be a man, fatherly expectations, and the relationship between fathers and sons. But I assure you, this film has nothing to say about any of that. Adam's father is cruel and humiliates his son for being weak in front of his class, and then on his deathbed gaslights his son into thinking that this was all Adam's imagination, that he just wanted him to be who he wanted to be. That is absolute bullshit. Wow. This isn't an empowering film about male heroics or male anything. It's a Barbie treatment of masculinity where everything is played as a joke. The film wants to be Thor 2011, but lacks the heart. It wants to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but lacks the depth of that shallow pool. It also wants to be a camp homoerotic space adventure, but that's about all it accomplishes.
Now, if that was all it set out to be, then maybe it would be a different story.
Either just go there. Like, this is clearly like a film that is quite homoerotic, and just go there with it, but like they still want to pretend like it's hetero, and like this isn't. Just embrace what you meant to be. Embrace your audience, but you're too afraid. So that's my He-Man rant. I thought it was absolute crap. It was coward. It was a coward in a different way than Nolan. But both films I thought just felt very cowardly in their handling of the material and just not being brave enough to be who they're meant to be.
And do what they're meant to do. Absolutely.
Yes. Like no one is going to give a shit if He-Man is gay. Like no one is going to care.
No one's going to care.
Anyway, Spider-Man. Brand New Day. Let's talk just briefly about sort of our background with the Tom Holland Spider-Man franchise, because in preparation for Brand New Day, I did my homework. I rewatched all three of those films. And let me just say, I have never enjoyed those films from the first time I sat down, from the first image, I remember when the first image of Homecoming came out, I did a gag where I made a meme where I took the High School Musical poster and I superimposed all of the actors' faces on top of the High School Musical, all the Spider-Man actors' faces on the High School Musical poster, because I just felt that what I was looking at was a High School Musical Disney-fied version of Spider-Man, and that's essentially what I feel like we got with Homecoming. It's just, it has some good things to it. Yes, Keaton is fine. The general sort of concept of the relationship between Peter and Tony is fine, but I've always struggled with that franchise because I've always felt like Holland was never allowed to be Spider-Man. He was always a Tony Stark Iron Man understudy, and given everything, and one of the things that I love about Spider-Man is his struggles. He is a struggling kid who could go off and have everything he wants because he's smart enough or whatever, but also bears this responsibility and decides to give up the things that, could benefit him for the greater good of other people. And I just feel like we never really got that in any of the previous installments with him until the last hour of No Way Home. No Way Home was one that I sort of kind of am okay with. It's the one I liked the most at the time. But that really only is for the last hour of the film. Once the Goblin goes nuts and starts attacking people in Happy's apartment, and then May dies, that point onwards for the rest of the film, like I'm sold on what is happening. Prior to that, I'm just not interested. Didn't care for Far Away From Home. Didn't care for Homecoming. There was zero. It's weird because they're married in real life and they have zero chemistry in those first three movies. There's no romantic chemistry whatsoever. So I didn't really buy into that film and that relationship either. I hated the supporting cast. Every supporting character in those early films just irritate the hell out of me, and I just don't connect with them. The Home trilogy is really just, that is not my Spider-Man. That is not anything I connect with or care to revisit. I don't own them except for No Way Home, and that is only for Toby and Andrew. That's it.
I'm not really much to add because I think that pretty much echoes what you see. One of the things that what I used to love about Spider-Man, still do love about Spider-Man. He was like me. He was more like my older brother because I was too young. But he was a teenager fighting all these massive dudes, and I really think that's a clever bit of creative writing in finding something new to do with the superhero genre back in the 60s. And the fact that he catches colds and he gets ill, but he still has to go out and do it, and he's got to take his allergy pills and all this business. All that made him really relatable.
Yes.
So that when he's doing all the superhero stuff, it matters. And you see him come home and he's battered and he's bruised and all the rest of it. He's got to pull his bed sheets up to his chin so that Aunt May doesn't see his costume and stuff like that. All that. So when I saw, I'm a big fan of the Maguire trilogy. I like the two Andrew Garfield films. Bear with me, because of him. Because I think his Spider-Man is the closest to what I always thought Spider-Man was. He's the one that does the quips best.
Yes.
And the sort of constantly talking while he's fighting. Although Holland's very good at that as well.
Well,
so when I went to see Homecoming, I spent the first sort of few minutes of it thinking, wow, he looks like a kid. He does look like a kid. This is really good. I'm liking this. But as it goes on, and I'm a big Michael Keaton fan, so that was a plus. But as it went on Homecoming, I started to think this is son of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Why can't Spider-Man be the sort of hero of his own film? And I know he is, but to me, then it became a series of set pieces that I enjoy. Yeah. So I have a like-hate relationship with that trilogy.
Brand New Day was announced. Didn't really care. Honestly, didn't really care. I was so fucking done with all of those characters. This film shouldn't have Mary Jane, shouldn't have Ned. And then they're like, oh, Mary Jane and Ned are back. I'm like, all right, okay. We'll see how it goes. And like, oh, Not Doctor Strange. Like, Mark Ruffalo is back as Hulk. And I'm like, okay, because they kept talking about how this was going to be a grounded street level Spider-Man, and then suddenly like, well, Hulk is here, and I'm like, well, Hulk isn't really street level,
No, not so.
per se, you know.
Not
but at the
so.
same time, classic Daredevil has fought Hulk randomly, so it's kind of like, okay, let's see how this plays. But then they were like, oh, John Bernthal's going to be in it. They're bringing a Punisher in. I'm like, fuck, what?
Yeah.
That made me sit up in my seat a little bit because everyone knows. I love the Daredevil show. I love Punisher in that show. I love Punisher's series, his 2 seasons, and I loved One Last Kill. I'm a fan of Bernthal's interpretation of the Punisher. I think he is just fucking amazing in that role. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. But also, as we discussed in our Punisher episode, Daredevil Punisher episode, can they juggle an R-rated character in this? Because they've tried it before. They tried to do a PG-13 version of Deadpool. They did a PG-13 release of Deadpool 2, and it is, let me tell you, boring.
Yeah.
So there was that sort of apprehension, you know, but then the trailer landed and I sat up even more in my seat because I was like, wait a minute. I'm looking at a trailer for a real Spider-Man movie.
That's exactly what I thought. I texted a friend of mine and I said, Tom Holland is finally playing Spider-Man.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. But the initial trailer did spark my interest. And this was the first time since The Amazing Spider-Man 1 that I was legitimately interested in a Spider-Man movie, because I don't mind the first Garfield movie. I hate the second one, except I love him and I love Emma Stone, and I don't think there's been a better dynamic in romance relationship in a Spider-Man film than those two.
I would agree.
Despite Holland and Zendaya being married.
I would agree with that.
You know, but yeah, so I like the trailers had me interested to the point I bought action figures, man. I've never bought an action figure for the Holland films. I bought two. I bought one of Spider-Man that I thought the Marvel Legends figure, because it just that suit looks great.
The suit is one of my favorite things about this film, and I know that's a very shallow thing to say.
No, it's vital.
It's a brilliant representation. When I saw this one, I thought, we're proper talking now. You know, this is great. That was Spider-Man from my childhood. That's what he looked like. It
blends Toby and Andrew and the comics perfectly, I think. And I love I also like there's aspects of like the mask. Like the mask looks more homemade than ever before. Like there's these sort of like seam lines around his mouth at times, and it's a little bit bunchy in places. And I was like, this is great. You can actually see through the whites of his eyes. And
I love that you can see through the whites of his eyes. I love you can see the shapes of his ears. They finally got rid of those helmet things that he always had.
There's no fucking nanotech. This was a strong, really good suit. And I also love the fact that this is subtle, but there's expression in his eyes. And the way there's like Deadpool has expression in his eyes.
Yeah.
There's like they kind of move up and up. But what I can't tell is it almost does it in the way that like the comic books do it, where it's like in reality they probably wouldn't be moving, but for the dynamics of a comic book panel, we're going to widen the eyes and shrink the eyes and all that kind of stuff. And this film was doing that, because when you look at them, they're like, oh, these aren't like the movable eyes that Tony Stark gave him, because again, why would Tony Stark, Iron Man doesn't even have movable eyes. So why the fuck would Spider-Man have movable eyes?
Exactly.
Just so they can imitate comic book expression. That's it. Whereas this was this subtle, it was a nice subtle way of trying to give you that Spider-Man expression without it being like, oh, here's a big techie stuff. Because I will admit also, I bought into the tech aspect of his suit this time.
Now, I was going to ask you about that, because we both dislike the whole tech thing in the first three
massively, because it's not his.
Because it's not
Tony's.
his.
It's Tony Stark's.
And when I saw all those screens and stuff, and he was making, and I thought, dear, I've still got the tech here. And then I thought, because like I say, I've had a couple of days to cogitate over it, and I thought, I said to myself, what you're forgetting is that in the comics, Peter Parker is a genius.
Exactly.
So I looking back on it at the time, I was thinking, I don't know, but move on, because we've got to keep up with what's going on.
Yeah.
When you sit back and think about it, I fully believe he could have put all that together. I fully believe he could make goggles that make his eyes move, and that I believe that he could do whatever it is else he does. That he could have facial recognition things and stuff. You know,
Totally.
I absolutely believe it because he was a genius. This kid can make web fluid that does all the amazing things that it does.
Yes.
And if you can buy into that, you can buy into that. He can make these sort of computer gizmos, because also this is a Spider-Man who has been a teenager in like the 2010s.
Yeah.
So he's going to be well up in tech and do all sorts of stuff that I don't understand, you know?
Yes.
So computer whiz genius kids are fully believable. So I've really come around to the idea of the tech because, like you say, it's his rather than a hand-me-down from someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that adds agency to him. That adds a depth to him. That adds texture to him because he is on his own, and so he's got to be able to do stuff on his own.
Yes.
So I didn't mind the tech this time because it wasn't outrageous. It wasn't stupid.
No, it was very much in many ways. It was sort of like Jarvis in the first Iron Man movie, where Tony is being super smart and he's doing things that are very intelligent. And then here Spider-Man is doing the same. I mean, a case in point is when he's chasing the mysterious villain and he has to tell the suit basically what to calculate for and what to do.
Yeah.
And then she's able to kind of do it. But there's a sort of back and forth relationship with them. So you feel you get that sense of like, oh wow, like yeah, finally, like we're seeing him being a genius just as he is. And yeah, I mean there's blips of it in the old films, but it was just, you know, it was just nice to be like, no, this is a kid. This is Spider-Man. He had to make that suit. No one remembers him from Tony Stark. So therefore, all of this tech that he has is stuff that he's had to either make or acquire somehow.
Yeah.
And then what has he been doing ever since everyone has forgotten him? He's been living in this attic space, being a superhero every day, all day long, and not having a life because he's overcome with the guilt of what's happened to Aunt May, which, you know, back in the day would have been the guilt of what happened to Uncle Ben. He's not chasing his academic pursuits. He's not chasing to better himself, but he's just giving everything he has to New York City to make it a better place and self-sacrificing quite a bit to the detriment of himself. And that is Spider-Man. And it's finally great to see him back.
It's finally great to see him back. Yeah, it really is. And I think, you know, you've got to allow for, like I say, the shift in time that a kid genius now would be a computer whiz. There's just no getting away from it. So it's fully believable to me that that's what he does. But I also like the fact that he remembers what he had from Tony Stark and he's sort of done his own version of it. Yeah. You know, so the sort of phone in the mask and the ability to have that sort of to say to the suit, go and see how far she can do what she does or whatever, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. Find out what's going on that other street over there. He's taken things that Stark gave him and learned from it. Now I'm on with that. Absolutely.
Definitely. Because I always thought with the Tony Stark thing, like when I like the concept of the Stark internship. I like the idea that this poor kid gets noticed by Tony Stark, who finds out that Peter is Spider-Man and brings him into the fold. And as a result says, hey kid, you're really smart. You're gonna be in this quote Stark internship, and because of me, I'm gonna put you in a better school, give you the stuff that you need because there's like I said, there's a surrogate father relationship going on. I thought that kind of idea would have been was something that could have been. I mean, they don't even do that in the movies, but like there's like a notion of it sort of in there. So I sort of like that, but then I also like the fact then you could have played the whole like, oh, I lost a Stark internship because I pissed Tony off, or I went a little bit too dangerous and and then you can still get that sense of like, you know, loss, and then he's gonna go back to his poor school. But the fact is, he's in rich school from the very fucking beginning, and that's what irritates me. That's what has always irritated me. So I just like to see. I mean, Tom Holland in recent interviews said something about how like he was really surprised that everyone was like really happy to see Spider-Man like sad and depressed, and it's like, hello,
yeah, that's exactly what he should be.
That is the character.
Yeah, that's exactly what he should be.
Like,
you know, I mean, he's one of the most emotionally complex superheroes of all. You know, I mean, I think I'd go so far as to say he's more emotionally and psychologically complex than Batman is, you know, because
yeah, Batman's pretty. I find Batman overall quite simple.
yeah, Batman's just a
He's like
poor orphan with a load of gadgets, you know.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man's sort of, he's just an ordinary kid.
Yeah.
Who had a bad day one day and has now got to live with it.
Yeah.
You know,
he's an ordinary kid with extraordinary powers, and that's what makes him fun. That's what makes him
compelling.
So the suit, loved the suit, totally loved it. Totally loved it.
The suit.
But before we dive into story and other character bits, visuals. Let's talk just general visuals. This is the first of the Holland films where I'm like, wow, you made New York finally look good.
Yeah. It finally looks like New York.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of evening shots which look really, a lot of night shots which are really great. Some of those rainy shots where he's running across the roofs look pretty good. So a lot of the stylized action looks really great. But just the general sort of, I mean, I think they filmed a lot of New York in Scotland, I think in Glasgow. To kind of get that vibe. And I appreciate that because it felt more authentic. It felt like there's a lot of this, like there's a particular street corner they do a lot of filming on wherever it's kind of outside his house, little cafe thing across the street. And like when he's there's that bit where he meets Ned, he follows Ned through the streets and like when he's talking with the police, like this must be one of the only Holland Spider-Man films where they must have filmed a huge portion of it in real locations. And it's to the film's benefit.
It is to the film's benefit, and it certainly looks as if it's the case. Otherwise, it's the best CGI and green screen I've ever seen.
Because did you see the scenes in Glasgow when they were filming him chasing the tank?
Yeah.
Like they actually had him on the back of a truck, elevated, like pretending to swing
on a crane. Yeah.
On a crane. Yeah. And that was like, I was like, this is like a really cool thing. Like you're going the extra mile to like add a level of like realness to the world that has been sorely lacking. I mean, there's a couple of shots. I'm not glad. There's a couple of shots. I'm like, all right, we're here back with the old CGI bit, green screen bit. But there's a lot of the film that I was like, this is great. Like I am clearly standing outside. I'm, or it's done so well that I feel that I'm outside.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like you can normally tell from the lighting if you're like real lighting or artificial outside lighting, but I visuals, the way New York is brought to life in this film, loved it. I genuinely was like, this is a great looking New York City. It looks like this is probably the most Spider-Man has looked across the board in terms of bringing a comic book to the screen since probably some of the Raimi stuff. This film actually, I feel like it took a lot from the Raimi aesthetic, leaning into that gritty New York vibe.
Yeah, I think so. And I know the street corner you mean as well.
Yeah.
Where he keeps buying the flowers.
Yes.
And I agree. It looks, we've been to New York loads of times. I can see myself on that street corner, and I think, yeah, I know where that is. I mean, I don't, but it's so realistic. I know where it is. And it must be must be real, or most of it real. And I know there are certain shots where you do think, but I can accept them as exceptions to the rule.
Same.
But when they are, because they're just a necessary evil, I suppose, or they're just an accepted evil of filmmaking these days. But when they are the only thing you get, they become very tiresome, and they disengage you. I mean, they certainly disengaged me as an audience member.
Mm-hmm.
In this film, I was in it. I really was in it.
Yeah.
Because it all looked vastly different to the three that had gone before. This was like a whole new start to me. It was a brand new day.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like what New York looks like in the Netflix Marvel shows. It looks like Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
It looks like Iron Fist. It looks like Daredevil. Obviously, it looks like Luke Cage.
Yeah.
That for once I was like, because I've just recently binged all of those shows again. So I'm really steeped in that. That is in the forefront of my mind. And I thought, oh my God, I actually feel like you could see Iron Fist walking in the background behind him. I feel like you could see Karen Page somewhere back there. Like this is they did a really good job, like blend. And I think that was important to make Punisher work in this as well.
Well, absolutely.
But we'll get to him in a bit.
We'll get to Punisher in a bit.
I just wanted to add that little.
Yeah, I mean, and I've said before, I'm a big believer in, if you're dealing with a fantastic situation like a superhero, the more realistic and grounded one who's on Earth, I mean, one who's walking the streets of a city, you reckon, the more realistic that city looks and those surroundings look, the easier it is to swallow that they can turn into a big green creature, or they can scale a wall, or they can, you know, if the rest of it looks fake, then you can't buy into the fairy tale, because the fairy tale has got to be grounded in something that you recognize. Yeah. And that's what the Raimi films do so well. It's what Batman Begins is all about. It's what the Christopher Reeve Superman films do. You know, there you see New York as a real place. Yeah. And all the best ones do it. All the ones that stick in my mind, and all the ones that I would probably go and watch again, do it, because I'd watch this again.
That was the thing. I came home and, you know, Claire was like, "Oh, so how was it?" I was like, "Actually, it's like I overall really enjoyed it, and I actually went to rewatch it without any cynical reasons. I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited to go see this again, to the point where I'm like, should I just like skive off work one day and just go see it in the cinema again?"
I mean, when I went to see it, obviously it was heaving. It was absolutely packed. But
you know what? Let me add to that. Saw this at 1:30 in the afternoon on Friday at the Picture House Central. Usually when I do this, it is not very full. This film was not entirely full, but virtually full. Yeah. Virtually full. Yeah. This film is going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. But I'm thinking to myself, you know, as we're talking now, when it's died down a little bit and people have seen it, you know, I might go and watch it again with my wife and say, let's go and watch this film, and then let's go and have some dinner and we'll have a day out. Because I would happily watch this again. Same.
I might do the same. Because at one point Claire was like, "Should I come with you today?" And like she was almost contemplating skipping work. I'm like, "Just do it," like, because she works not far from there. I'm like, "Just do it." She's like, "I got too much work to do." I was like, "All right, whatever." So maybe we'll do the same, because I also am like, I would kind of like to see this sooner rather than later. And that's a rarity. I very rarely want to see a film a second time.
It's almost unheard of for me,
especially for a Tom Holland Spider-Man film, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, absolutely. These days, I mean, I don't think it's happened since sort of, I don't know, Batman Begins, maybe. You know, we're easily talking 20 odd years ago since I've thought I could really go and watch that again. You know? Yeah,
I don't remember the last time I saw the film twice in cinema. It probably when I was in the States, honestly. But one thing was, in terms of the visuals as well, like I'm pretty sure they used Senate House at one point for the exterior of Damage Control. Senate House is the University of UCL here in London, and it's an Art Deco building, a classic Art Deco building. Because then they go inside, and it has all that Art Deco interior. I'm like, oh my god, I think they also filmed inside as well. So like even that, I'm almost positive those weren't sets. Some of them were. The office, Damage Control, the guy's office, that was a set. But like the lobby, I'm pretty sure that is the actual lobby of Senate House, because I remember being in there a few times and it looked like that. So I'm like, I think they actually like made the effort to like film in a lot of real locations that brought out this like fun old looking New York. And so visually I love it. But should we dive into the story?
Let's get into the story.
All right. Let's get into the story. So I guess I don't know what the IMDb logline is for this, but the general premise is that obviously Peter Parker is he's you know, living a very loner life. All of his life is right now is just about crime. And then there's some sort of new villain on the streets that is controlling people, controlling minds, and is after something called VMAX and Damage Control. The people at Damage Control want Spider-Man to stop her because he's the only one who can sense her because of his, you know, spidey senses. But I guess in the meantime, Spider-Man is struggling with this spider puberty, as they jokingly called it on set, apparently. But there's this mutation happening within Spider-Man. What did your overall impressions of the story?
I thought the story was pretty standard fodder, to be honest. What I liked more was the the themes of it and the sort of character stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of character stuff in there. Whether regardless of what anyone might think about the acting or whatever, but there's some good, well-intentioned character stuff in this, and I thought that was good. I mean, Spider-Man's fighting villains. Okay, that's what he does.
Fighting a lot of villains in this.
A lot of villains, and in terms of what the story is actually doing in the plot, it's okay. I mean, I've seen worse, that's for sure. Yeah. But I've also seen better. But I just sort of took the plot for granted, I have to say. It's just there's a threat, and Spider-Man's going to go and find it. He does a bit of investigating, he confronts it, and then he does what he has to do.
Fix the problem.
Fix it. Yeah.
Fix the problem that he caused, trying to do the right thing.
Fix the problem that he caused, trying to put right what he made go wrong in the first place. Yeah. I mean, and there's lots of little sub-adventures on the way. But I think what this film is good at is, I mean, the theme of loneliness in this film, I think, is really captivating.
Yeah.
And I think for a blockbuster superhero movie. I mean, we're not talking Shakespeare here, but I think for what it is, it does it pretty well. I think it handles it pretty well.
It's the first time in a Holland film that I've bought into the theme. I think the last kind of I definitely bought into the theme. I think with the theme of in Spider-Man, I don't even know what the theme of Amazing Spider-Man is. It's just kind of back to basics. But I did buy all of the character stuff in the Raimi trilogy. I like the sacrifice element of the first movie. I like the giving up the thing you want the most theme in 2. And as clunky as 3 is, I have to admit that the theme of forgiveness is really quite powerful in that movie. Like in that moment when Peter's like, I forgive you. I remember that moment. I remember being in the cinema and watching and hearing him say that and being like, I didn't expect that. Wow, fuck. Yeah. That's what you got to do. Well. That's what you got to do. Yeah. And I love that. And I think here this thing of loneliness, and then when he sort of realizes that he can't do it anymore, and when he has to then help the other person, who we will get to later, help them realize that they aren't alone either. I was like, wow, this was the theme landed. I'll put it that way. It could have been better, but generally it landed. And Matt, you mentioned these subplots. The film was 2.5 hours. Could the film be 2 hours? Probably.
Absolutely.
There is definitely a lot of padding by filling out the basically just his sort of day to day that you could have probably encapsulated in about 5 minutes. And this is maybe where I have some of my gripes, because they do the opening montage where he fights people like Boomerang, Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, and there's this awesome scene with him and Tombstone.
Yeah.
And Tombstone looks fucking awesome.
I want to see more Tombstone.
I did too. And this is where I thought, you know what, in your 2.5 hour film, you could have, I would have, the subplot is the mutation plot. That is your B plot.
That's your B plot, yeah.
My overall feeling with the mutation stuff is that, which I might say in a bit more detail, but I didn't think that went deep enough to be worthwhile fully.
No, I fully agree with that.
And I would have liked the subplot to have been about him trying to stop some sort of crime scheme of Tombstone's.
Yeah.
Because whatever the fuck was going on there, I was like, I was loving it. I was like, I love the way he looked. I love the way he sounded. He looked fucking mean. It was like, I was like, oh, this is cool. Give me this. Give me this.
I did. But at the end of Spider-Man, no, which one is it? The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he fights the Rhino. And that was all they
even make fun of that. They even make fun of that in No Way Home.
Yeah, and because that was sort of trailed as being a big sort of set piece, and when it came, then the credits followed it. And I thought, that's cheap marketing. And I felt I had a little bit of feeling about that for the first sort of 10 minutes of this film, where he's doing all these very accurate homages to comic book covers, Spider-Man comic book covers.
Yes.
And you think, come on, you've sold this as he's confronting all these villains, and he's not really. You see them for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was a bit of a cheap gag. But it was very nice seeing the covers realized, but that's a bit
except for the one with him carrying the guy through the air. That one was
didn't work.
That one was really, that's the one scene that I'm like, this looks bad and you should have cut it.
You should have cut it. Yeah. The one where he fights Tarantula was
that was cool,
really good. But I just think, like you say, you could do this in 5 minutes and cut off quite a bit, but I do like the fact he's working with the police. I do like all that business, and I like seeing him doing it in his day-to-day life, and it's just become his life.
Yeah.
But we'll get onto this a bit later on, but I was just going to put it out there now. One of my problems with these films is there are too many people in it,
Yes.
And they all need to have screen time. Too many superheroes is what I mean. And they've all got to have their own time. I mean, I question whether we really needed the Hulk in this.
We'll get to that.
But we'll get to that. So I reckon in terms of runtime, as you were saying before, easily there's 2 hours. I'd even say an hour and 50. But nevertheless. But I thought the opening, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But the minute Tombstone appeared, I thought that's like almost sort of
it's unfair.
It's like that's like almost like Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy level comic accurate makeup. I mean, it was great, brilliant stuff.
Yeah,
wanted to see much more of him.
You landed on something that I wanted to talk about as well, and that was all of this stuff was in the trailers. And one problem with, say, for example, the film Supergirl. If you watch the trailer, you watch the film. You've literally seen the film from beginning to end. Yeah, this film has a little bit of that, where if you've seen this film, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen pretty much all you're going to get of the Hulk. You see virtually all you're going to get of Punisher. You see virtually all you're going to get of all of these little villains. So they sort of, and they do this at the expense of not revealing who or what the villain is. And this is why I thought actually what you needed, because they sort of pretend like Scorpion is going to be a recurring villain and like he's sort of there, but he's not an essential villain with any kind of, and this is why my big gripe is a little restructuring of your story, of your script, to say Spider-Man is investigating something that Tombstone has going on. He's working with the police to pin it. At the same time, there's this other element that's brought in that's mind controlling, and it's interfering with whatever Tombstone is involved in, and damage control is involved as well. Yeah. Therefore, you can sell your film on Spider-Man is confronting Tombstone, but actually your twist is that actually it's character B who's coming in, who's going to be the big reveal of something. And I think that would have been a really nice focus for this. But as you say, I agree that despite all this, despite it being quite padded and a lot of it being spoiled in the trailers, I still was having a fun time. And I think that's the important bit for me. It's like, you know what, despite all of this, because I mean, one thing did annoy me very early on, and that was that we had one scene with Spider-Man going head to head with a hand. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Is that it?
Is that it? And then the throwaway line of the Spider-Man defeated the hand and now they're good guys. I was like, now I have a theory. We'll go into this later, but I was like, I sighed audibly at that. I was like,
funny enough, I thought to myself, Luke's not going to like that.
No,
no.
I've got 50 Daredevils behind me that are like,
I just want to say, I say I reckon this could be an hour and 50 to 2 hours, and I do. But that is not to say that I was zoning out at any time. I was zoning out all the time through Disclosure Day, But
same. I was.
This is a long run time, but I wasn't losing interest. It kept me,
Put it this way: it's the same runtime as No Way Home, and I am bored to tears for the first hour and a half of No Way Home.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
And here I was like, I was in it. I was like, all right, give it to me.
Yeah, and no one can say they're bored in this film. I don't think anyone can say they're bored in this film.
Now I do, but but as you said, I do like a lot of these visuals. I like a lot of these fights. But let's focus just a little bit on Holland and Spider-Man. You can tell there is a real concerted effort here to just pour as much proper Spider-Man into this as possible. Again, like you were saying, the tech side is there, but the quippy side is there. Yes, Holland has always been a little bit quippy, but he was massively quippy here. And it was working. It was working for me.
Yeah,
like
it was.
a lot. Like I was, and I think because I also just recently I've read some Spider-Man. I read some Daredevil comics where Spider-Man is there. They've done some. Obviously, for the purpose of this film, if you go to comic stores, there's these nice little hardbacks of like Spider-Man and X-Men, Spider-Man and Punisher, Spider-Man and Daredevil. And so I've been buying some of those and reading some of those. And I just read this really great arc in Mark Waid's run from 2011, where it's literally, I posted about this online. It's Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher in one like storyline, and it's fucking great. And it's like, this is everything I really wanted from this movie that I know that I'm not gonna get, but like I'm gonna get half of it.
But
you
get some of it.
You do, and I was loving. Spider-Man is funny. The way he's responding to Punisher and Daredevil and stuff is really good. It's very charming, very, yeah. And so, and I liked that I felt like for the first time I was seeing that comic book Spider-Man finally on screen with Holland. But obviously they clearly took a lot of inspiration from the fact that Andrew Garfield was around.
Yeah.
In the previous film, because he is really channeling that, because Garfield brought that to life in the best way, and Holland is now, this film makes him second to Garfield in that respect.
I absolutely agree with that. Garfield is still the gold standard for Spider-Man for me in that respect. Because I always
sharp knives.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
and my favorite bit is when he's fighting the lizard in the school, and he's just like he's going, like he's just talking to him all the time, like really irritating, talking to him all the time.
Yes.
And he says something like, you've got nothing to say, and he fires a web in his mouth, and he goes, "There you go," like just like crawling all over him, and I love all that. I love all that just irritating quipping that Spider-Man does to disarm the enemies, to wind them up, to deflect them. And I agree, Holland has really steps up a notch in this, a notch or two or three, because I think this is his best film as Spider-Man. There's no doubt about that in my mind. It's
probably his best film, period, because he was really uninspiring in the Odyssey, in my opinion.
Well,
this is his range, and he needs to stick with this.
Yeah, he's absolutely great in this. I really do think he is. And in terms of this, again, the Spider-Man that I grew up with when I was sort of 7, 8, 10 years old, he's on screen. I can see him, And if by any stretch of the imagination a film like this had come out when I was the right age to see it, with the sort of money behind it that the Christopher Reeve Superman film had, I would love it as much as I do that film.
Yeah,
it would have been a comic book come to life. The comic book I was reading at home come to life, because he's as close as damn it to me now.
Yes, yeah. Now I did DeWolf, the character DeWolf.
Yes. The cop. Yes.
Something I want to see here. Okay. DeWolf. I like the idea of DeWolf. I think there was a little bit of over reliance on a bit of exposition to just like catch you up to speed and make you buy into this relationship. One thing I think I would have liked, I think this would have been a really good opportunity, because obviously, I mean, they sort of bungled it by making the Daily Bugle a sort of InfoWars knockoff, which I didn't like. No. So you can't really bring back the Daily Bugle. You can't really bring back Jay Jonah in a meaningful way now, because it's like, well, he's just basically Alex Jones, and that's disappointing.
Yes, very much so.
But in the Daredevil shows, they weren't allowed to use the Daily Bugle, so they had the Bulletin, the New York Bulletin, and that's where Ben Urich worked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then Karen Page, I'm like, you could have brought back the Bulletin, and you could have brought him back as like he's earning money, like, because how is he earning money? I don't know. Maguire was delivering pizzas, blah 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 blah. Garfield was in high school for both films, so he still lived at home. So fine. I don't know how this Peter is surviving money wise, but there is this sort of like vibe of like this would have been a really I like DeWolf. I like him kind of working with the police. I like that concept, but I just think I needed to find out what he was doing to earn money. Like what is the day job? Because he needs to be somehow earning money. Yeah. But this would have been a great opportunity to have him doing more other classic Spider-Man stuff, because he hasn't worked for the Daily Bugle since the Maguire films.
Since Maguire, yeah.
It's a long time to be leaving out one of the biggest aspects of this character. Like selling Spider-Man photos, or even if he was like selling them online or via TikTok or whatever, some sort of new way of inventing the selling of the pictures. Like that would have been really fun to see.
Because whilst we like the tech, he's got to fund it, hasn't he?
Exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah. And because I just kept thinking, man, it would be great to see like Robbie back. Yeah. Robbie more, like bring Robbie back, because Robbie was that character who always sort of knew that Peter was Spider-Man, but never really said it, but was also very caring for Peter. And DeWolf is sort of in that frame for him, but at the same time, she, she's like, oh, you need to take care of yourself. I'm like, oh, you're still getting the headaches. I'm like, well, why? We need a bit more explanation as to sort of like, how close are they? Because then she's like, you don't even know my kids' names. And it's funny, the joke, oh, it's Poppy. That was a funny joke. But it's like, a funny joke. It's like, okay, there's clearly a distance in this relationship. And like, I just thought that would have been a cool thing to have seen revived in this movie, rather than just, again, we're talking about so many people in this film, but if you dial back some of the fodder of like montaginess and allow some space for like, here's him doing some Daily Bugle, here's some bulletin stuff while he's working with his cop friend, while they're all trying to do something with Tombstone. Like, there you go.
Because you can have more of that stuff if you sacrifice some of the stuff that you don't need. I mean, it's quite a simple equation, and I agree about DeWolf. I quite liked the fact that, she was able to say to her kids, Spider-Man says hello.
I like that at the end. That was sweet.
Because that's like the friendly neighborhood side of all this.
Yes.
And
yes.
And I liked the idea that there was a sort of Gordon Batman thing going on.
Yeah, I did too.
She uses the vigilante to her own ends, and because she knows that he's trying to help, all that business. Yeah. But in Batman, there's absolutely no desire to know who he is. Particularly in the Nolan films, and there isn't that personal connection that only Bruce Wayne knows that there's a personal connection, going on under all the masks and capes. And this was a bit of a mix of. It was as if it didn't know which one it wanted to be. Did it want? Should she know who he is really, and then they can have that caring relationship side? Yeah. Or is it a proto Gordon Batman or a pseudo Gordon Batman where he is just a mysterious vigilante that helps her? Yeah. You can't have it both ways. You've got to have one or the other, I think. Yeah. And this tries to be both at the same time, and it doesn't quite come off. She's great in it, but doesn't quite come off, and the idea is a good one, and and that's a bit frustrating to me in a film that is as good as this is, really. Yeah, that there is a good idea that's not fully realized.
Yeah, because there's a cop in the animated. Shouldn't be. Yeah, there's a cop in the animated series called Terry Lee, and I can't remember if she's in the comics or she's an invention for the show. I don't remember. But she's basically an ally for Spider-Man in the, within the police force. And that's kind of what DeWolf is doing here. But she really she's quite involved in his life, like a lot. And I really like this character, and that's kind of what they're angling here, but I think I just would have liked just a little bit more. I would have been like, honestly, I would have been like, hey, you know what? I understand why you're bringing Mary Jane back. We really don't need Ned. I've never liked Ned. He's fine here, but he's basically a glorified cameo. Just get rid of Ned. Bring Harry Osborn in or something. Like, just something whatever. Like that, something. But just maybe just no Ned, no other friend. It's just sort of him and Punisher and Mary Jane. That was enough. So yeah, so there's these little bits that you could have just tweaked. So I'm saying these things as ideas that would have been maybe a nicer angle for it to work with. But again, I say that at the same time, saying that I still enjoyed what we got. So these aren't like, I'm not trying to be hypercritical, because I did really enjoy a lot of it, but these are sort of the weak bits for me, I think.
I mean, this isn't a perfect film. This isn't a perfect film. But it's a very enjoyable one.
Yeah.
I think I told you when I went to the cinema to see this, the end credits started rolling and the whole cinema erupted into applause.
Mine did not.
Apart from me. And I don't know if that's because I'm just like a grumpy old man or whatever, but I thought
I don't like applauding at cinema, though. I just
no, I mean, it's not the theater.
No one is there to see it or hear it.
No, it's not the theater.
Tree falls in the woods and no one's around.
No cast on stage getting a buzz from it,
Yeah.
And I thought, so this is all a bit unnecessary. But whilst the film is good, it isn't like so good that I felt the need to applaud it, physically. Because there are ideas there are frustrations with this film as well. But it isn't like I felt with Supergirl or even Superman, where the frustrations are so overwhelming.
Yes.
That it spoils the film.
This is still, despite these qualms, the story holds together, the plot is strong, the characterization works, and I buy into what they're selling. And this is the first time I bought in wholesale to a Spider-Man film since Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, me too.
That's a long fucking time.
And it's a long time. And this is it does feel as if Holland has been gearing up to this point, and everything else has just been like constant dress rehearsals.
Yeah.
And trying to iron out problems with the performance and all the rest of it. Because now I think he's there.
Spider-Man No Way Home, I think, was the dress rehearsal. That last hour of them being like, and then the response to that last hour from the people was like, oh wow, people really dug this like gritty, mature, tough.
Yeah.
We need to up our game now. We need to up our game. And they stepped up to the challenge, and they've succeeded. Now, one other gripe, I got a couple more gripes we'll go on with. The mutation storyline. Now, I had the same problem with the third Raimi Spider-Man movie. I know Raimi didn't want to include Venom. I know Avi Arad basically made him do it. And I know that obviously that was terribly done. And it's frustrating because if you just go as simple as watching the animated series, the Venom saga is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Those 3 episodes are just the perfect adaptation of that storyline with some twists from the comics.
Yeah.
The other thing was when these trailers were showing and there was this talk of mutation, and then Punisher was in there. I thought, oh my God, are they actually going to do Man Spider?
Yeah, I was sort of, when I saw the trailer and he's outside the apartment block, like covered in webs.
Yep.
I thought,
here we go.
Yeah. And when he opens his eyes and they're all black.
Yep.
I thought they're going to do it. And I was all in for that.
I was too.
Because I remember that saga. I remember that saga in the comics. I remember it in the animated series in the 90s.
Because I don't remind me, in the comics, does Punisher turn up in that one? Or is that just the animated series?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay. But that was one thing that was awesome about the animated series is Punisher comes to town to hunt down this monster.
Yeah.
He thinks he's hunting Man Spider, but actually he's hunting the vampire guy. What's the vampire guy's name? Morbius. He's actually hunting He doesn't realize that Morbius is the one who's killing people. It's not Man Spider. So there's this whole thing of he's hunting this guy. At the same time, you got the cop lady involved. You got there's a scientist lady involved who's connected to Kraven the Hunter, and all. It's those like 3 episodes or 3 to 6 episodes where he grows the extra arms, becomes the Man Spider, and then has to be cured. Was such a fucking awesome saga. Like, I was just like, oh my God, we got Punisher in here. He's a fucking nut job. He's gonna go after any kind of monster that's terrorizing things. Like he'll put it down like a rabid dog. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I've just done a search. Punisher's not in the comics, but it's only the animated series. But
okay, so I was pumped. I was thinking, oh, are they really gonna do it? And then of course they do not.
They don't. No, and it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. Because I'll tell you what this is an example of for me with a lot of these Marvel films. They never seem to me to tell a complete story, there's always a tease. There's always looking for the next one. And I think we'll just finish this first, and then tease me at the end with something else,
Yes.
So the whole man spider thing, the whole mutation thing, if that had happened, if they concluded the story, properly in inverted commas, and then he went home and he took off the mask and he looked in the mirrors and his eyes were black, and then it went off, then fair enough. That's a cliffhanger ending. But the main story has been told.
Yeah.
Here there are plot points that are left unresolved. And I know why they do it, I know why they do it. But if you're not an absolute Spider-Man Marvel freak, you might not go and see the next one. So,
well, I don't know the amount of money this one's making. I think everyone will see whatever they
well,
come out
maybe
with.
they will. Maybe they will. I mean, I'm saying that, and I'm thinking I'll probably go and see the next one now because I enjoyed this one so much. But overall, I think this constant need to go on to the next one and look forward to the next one before this one is finished.
Well, I think
does grate on me a little bit.
Yeah, I think what you're getting at is that actually the villain of the story sort of weeds out the possibility of a satisfying man spider story because there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
So either cut the mutation aspect out or cut our mysterious villain out.
Yeah.
Because
do that next time.
Yeah. Those two things don't necessarily work fully together. I remember thinking like, okay, at the end of the film, when he basically embraces his mutation and then he's just like insta-fine, I'm like, okay, interesting. I thought we would have done a little bit more with this. I thought there was a little bit more, I guess we're just doing it so that in the future he just can have organic webs like Toby, to
which I was never a fan of.
I loved the organic webs.
I always liked it. I always liked the idea that his webs could run out at any time, and then he's just got to rely on his, but.
I liked it. Always.
That's just a minor quibble.
Even Stan Lee was like, when they did it for the film, he's like, I should have thought of that.
Well, it makes more sense. It definitely makes more sense.
Because otherwise, his powers are actually quite limited to just super strength, agility, and he can stick the walls,
climbing walls. Yeah,
and so it's like, okay, right.
It does make more sense, but I always like the idea that he could run out at any time.
Yeah. So I guess it's a tough gripe because I like the aspect of because so when he is angry. When the spider side is ramping up and there's that scene where he's beating the shit out of Gargan in the street, Scorpion, and then the cops are up and he hits a cop car and the cop car flips and the cops inside is injured and DeWolf was like, you need to fucking get this under control because I can't protect you if you do this again. That was good. I was like, ooh, this is fun. I like the kind of danger of what's going on with this mutation. It's just that the revelation is that, I just need to embrace it and accept it and be both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. It's like
the old Batman Forever climax.
Yes. Oh God. I am Batman.
I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. And I thought, I did get a bit sort of goosebumpy at that moment. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good sort of Peter conquering his demons. I was quite into all that, and I thought that fight,
it was a great fight. That final fight between him and the Hand, which we've seen many times, which is a massive red herring in some ways, which we'll get to shortly. But that was a really fun.
I loved the web tornado thing. I thought
that was cool. Yep,
ace.
I like breaking when he broke the sword. It's cool in the trailer. It's infinitely cooler in the scene itself.
In context, it's infinitely cool in context.
It's well cool.
but going back to your point, I agree that it's frustrating that this promising storyline that always had a sort of one foot in the horror camp was teased and not real. If indeed that was what it was meant to be teased, and wasn't realized. And like I say, it's because everything is stuffed so full.
Well,
and if they just eased a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you why they did it. I'll tell you why they went so hard with it. They kept using the word mutation. And as you were saying, they're always looking to the next thing. Well, this film is looking to the next thing, which I'm not going to get into just yet. I'm going to keep teasing the people, but this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler review. Everyone knows it's a spoiler review, so you already know what I'm teasing anyway, but I'm not going to say it yet.
It's the worst kept secret in Hollywood.
It is. But so things like that. Yeah. Now action wise, I do think there was still a lot of really great action. I really did love the Punisher Peter chasing the tank scene.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah, it was.
You know, and the humor worked. The humor worked. Like when Peter is on Punisher's car and he's like, Frank, stop trying to kill people. Because I always make these jokes when we're watching Punisher or Daredevil. You know, I'm like, that's always the gag. It's like Matt Murdock, Daredevil, always just like, Frank, stop murdering people. and I like it, and you see it in the comics a lot. I like the fact that this show lent into that and sort of was just like, stop killing people, Frank.
Yeah, and I like he webs the gun to the top of the truck,
and he just
instantly
has another,
and then he just pulls up another one.
I do think the humor in this is the first time in a Marvel film in a very long time that I'm like, I am buying like pretty much all of your humor. This is like finally normal levels of acceptable, appropriate humor for what is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I don't know, it's just as if everyone's up their game and sort of put a bit more effort into it than they normally
new
do.
writers. I don't know, but it felt fresh. It felt fresh. It felt fresh.
It's not enough just to have Spider-Man on screen. He's got to be, you know, or even just to have the Punisher on the screen, have them together. There's got to be a chemistry. There's got to be the characters have got to come alive, and they do. They do.
I mean, I also thought in terms of other action scenes, like I did love when he was chasing our mysterious villain, and they're sort of jumping into different bodies along the way, and then they jump into the helicopter pilot, and that was, and then he strings up the helicopter in that crane, which I'm like, this is clearly a bit of a reference to the unused Tobey Maguire,
the Raimi thing,
yes,
which they couldn't use because it was two towers, but yeah.
I thought that
it's too obvious.
Yeah. For those who don't know, there's an old promo for the film where Spider-Man webs some crooks in a helicopter in between the Twin Towers, but that was obviously not used because of what happened on 9/11.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other action scene, I really dug the Punisher Spider-Man Hulk scene in the damage control place. Once he became like, I was into it. Like, we can talk about Hulk in a minute, but like that scene in of itself, that was a fun, like brutal beat down.
What I'm going to say, regardless of whether I think Hulk should be there or not, that is a superb fight sequence.
Yeah. It felt very much like a comic.
And he's going, stop shooting him, Frank. Stop shooting him. and even the thing of, like when he says, I didn't know you could get that big. I thought I had a smile at that. And when he's on Hulk's back and he's trying to get the inhibitor chip on, he goes, why is your skin so thick? You know, that business. And I thought, for the first time since Avengers, Avengers, I thought Ruffalo's Hulk was worth watching.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not interested in Hulk when he's intelligent or anything like that. I like Hulk to be a raging, rampaging monster. And he was in this. And the bit where he said, no Banner, no girl, just Hulk.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
I nearly applauded them.
that was an applaud moment. I agree. That was great.
Yeah. And even the look of, because he ends up with half the building on his back, like webbed to his back. And there's a bit of like almost a sort of King Kong moment where he's desperately holding on, and then you see sort of fear in Hulk's face.
Fear. It's something. I wonder if he remembers who Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
I think he's remembering then, yeah.
Because I think there could be a distinction.
We were friends.
He does, and then he looks at, and that's what it is. I think he realizes that this is a friend, and I think the spell. I don't know how strong the spell is with everyone that Doctor Strange did in the last one. I don't think Ned remembers. I know there's a tease at the end that maybe Ned remembers. I don't think that is what it is. MJ doesn't remember at all, which I'm glad for. But I do think Hulk is a different beast, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the being the Hulk means that because he's worn the inhibitor chip for however long he says the thing that he has on his wrist.
Yeah.
Maybe when he's Hulk, like because everything's moving faster and at superhuman speed, his memory does.
Yeah,
it fights through the spell. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
but as a fight sequence with two, one massive Hulk and two blokes of normal size, it's really well choreographed and it's really well presented, and the effects are really good. So, notwithstanding my views about whether the Hulk should be in this or not, and whether it's all padding, given that it's there, it's a bloody entertaining piece of superhero cinema.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So Tremel Tillman plays William Metzgerg, who's in charge of damage control. Now, I'll be honest, it's pretty obvious that he's the bad guy of the movie.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why. Because in no sane world can Spider-Man defeat the Hand and make them good.
No.
I'm not even certain that those people are the real Hand, to be honest. They might just be Hand imposters or Hand rejects. Or because the thing is like, okay, they aren't gonna go, they're not gonna turn over a new leaf. The Hand is just not gonna do that.
No.
And they are basically, but they're working for Metzgerg, which it's like, and I think there is a moment where Peter goes and is like, hey, these guys, and they're like, oh no, yeah, they're good now. And it's like, are they? No, they're not. They're not good. Metzgerg isn't good, but there's a they sort of play it as if it is. For me, I saw through it pretty obviously. I was like, this is obviously he's going to be the bad guy. He's doing something bad. What's behind that big wall over there?
There was all that business.
Yeah. That's where the film gets a little bit it's a little bit too lazy at times. So I'm like, okay.
And I was thinking he's just one more villain because this film's full of them.
Well, yes. And this was like if you had focused it and had less montagey and more focus on villain and the overall, kind of plots and relation, that could have been a helpful thing. But hey. So that was
so much this film lands, but that as a twist doesn't at all.
No, you saw it a mile away. You saw it a mile. You're because the thing is the whole film is you're spending so much time trying to work out who the hell this mystery person is. This person who's taking over people's minds. She's after something called VMAX, and you're just like, okay, well, what is this? Who is this? Okay, and then Spider-Man sees her and uses that to find out who she is, and lo and behold, we are introduced to our very first X-Man. Jean Grey has entered the chat.
Yes.
Again, this is a, as you were saying, this is what I was kind of foreshadowing from what you were saying. It's like, this is looking to the future. We're looking to the introduction of the X-Men. That's why we're talking about mutation so much. That's why Spider-Man is going through a mutation in this film. Not because they're going to do the Man Spider, but because they need to get people used to the fact that there are mutants and people with power. But here's the fucking thing. That's already been happening in the Netflix shows. Jessica Jones, in Jessica Jones season 3, there's the fucking mind control guy in that season. They have Typhoid Mary in the second season of Iron Fist. So she's not using powers per se, but like it's basically like if they were to turn around and say she's got powers, it'd be like, I of course she does. You know what I mean? And
I do,
there's plenty of super powered people, and even the fact that you've got Wanda and Quicksilver in the Age of Ultron. Yeah, they say that their powers are the results of like the Infinity Stone. That can be a very easy retcon to say that actually the Power Stone just triggered their mutant gene.
Yeah, I'm mutant gene. Very good. I'm not even sure that you need to have the mutation thing to prepare people for a mutant. When you've got a kid who's been bitten by a radioactive spider and has taken on that spider's powers, having someone that can possess people by jumping into them and taking over their mind ain't that big a leap to me.
It's not that different from what Wanda was doing and has been doing
exactly. So I don't even
2014.
Think you need, any of the TV shows even. Just watch this Spider-Man film cold without the mutation bit in it. You can accept that people can read minds because you can accept that a kid can walk up the wall. I mean,
totally.
Totally. So again, like we said before, give me one or the other, but don't try and give me both if you're not going to
Yeah.
do both of them justice.
Yes.
That's my big problem with the film.
Overall, what are your thoughts on Jean Grey introduced to the MCU, played by Sadie Sink? I have to just quickly say, there was an element that was just maybe this was just a little bit too close to home, because she's a girl with telekinetic powers being manipulated and tortured by the mysterious government.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen Stranger Things. We all know that she's in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
They just sort of Stranger Things her here, which I think on one angle, I think she works fine. I overall, I think I like her. And I like the sort of darker take on Jean.
Yes.
I thought overall I bought into it, and I do think there is that really. I do think it's quite powerful. She's lonely because her sister's been taken and murdered by Metzgerg. So she's just out for cold revenge. So I get that. And Peter is all lonely and sad and broken. And I like that these two broken heroes come together and they have this talk in kind of, the whatever mental space to sort of be like, we don't have to be, you're not alone. I'm here with you. We're together. So I thought the overall kind of theme of these two going about their goals in probably the wrong ways and finding each other, I thought all of that worked, but it's a hell of a violent way to introduce everyone to one of the star X-Men.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I've take this in stages. I think her performance is superb. I think it's really good. I think she's really strong.
As a horror guy, you must have liked it, because there was some epic horror elements to what she was doing and how they were portraying her powers and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, jumping into someone's body and taking possession of them, and then they're not quite themselves, is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is, to me, is one of the most terrifying concepts of all time.
Yes,
that you are not quite the person. Looks like the person I know. It looks like the person I love. It sounds like him, but it's just something not right about them.
Yeah,
it's quite a terrifying concept. I liked it. I liked the narrative synergy between her and Peter, and I like the fact that Peter thinks she's an out-and-out villain, but then comes to realize he was wrong and finds a connection with her. I think, as from a narrative perspective, all that is really good, and from a sort of bridging the loneliness gap, the loneliness thing, it's good. But I agree, on the basis that this woman's going to turn into essentially like
Dr. Jean Grey.
Dr. Jean Grey, the leader, pretty much the leader of the X-Men, if under Cyclops. It's a long way to go, isn't there? That's a hell of a journey she's got to go on.
she is still very young, so I'm okay with it, because she is very young. But and also, if we go Phoenix, there is a darkness to Jean. So
well, Phoenix, absolutely. And it's sort of the other way around this, isn't it? Because to me, she's Jean Grey, then she gets.
Yes, they're starting with that element of darkness now, which is nice because it is counter to what we've seen previously in the films. In the film, it's always goody two shoe Jean goes bad.
And it might be nice to see a Jean Grey, a version of Jean Grey, where that darkness is only sleeping.
Yes. They tried to do that a little bit after they did the timeline cleanse with X-Men, but didn't quite work. But no, so that's I kind of bought into it, because the thing is, the reason I sort of her plot armor is still intact, because basically all she's doing is going after really bad guys who murdered her sister.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, you actually haven't done anything mean or deadly to any innocent person. You've just used innocent people to like get into places, and you were going to use bad people to get into bad places to hurt bad people, like using Gargan and stuff like that later, So I kind of bought into it. I think the most wicked thing she did, and I really loved this scene, was when she took over Mary Jane.
Yeah, I loved it.
Or not Mary Jane, but MJ. Like,
I loved that.
That scene got me, because obviously, those who've seen it or not, you wouldn't be listening, but we think MJ is snapped back and like they've found each other again, and Peter's like bawling. He's like breaking down because he's just been so lonely.
So I obviously went to see this film with an audience of very easily moved people, because when that happened,
the girl next to me was crying the whole time.
There was a family next to me, and the dad went, oh yes. And then when it's revealed, I sort of tried to look at the corner of my eye, and he was devastated. He was absolutely devastated.
Because at first you're like,
oh no.
Yeah, at first you're like, okay, yeah, I guess they're gonna probably undo the spell, fine, whatever. But then you realize she's just full on manipulating, and I'm like, that was dark, and I liked it.
I liked it. And when he's holding her by the neck over the like over the
collar
void,
of her
as it
shirt.
were.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Does he drop her or something? I can't remember.
No, she like forces him to. She pushes off, basically. I think.
And then she. It's pretty evil that she comes out of her.
Yeah. Yes.
Halfway down, and that is dark stuff. That is dark, terrifying stuff. And you're right. That the horror in me, the horror gig in me was refused man spider, but got psychological horror pretty much hit on the nail.
Yeah. I think I overall quite liked her. I thought maybe there was just a little bit too much padding. I do feel like when we jump into Jean's backstory, which is really quite important to some degree, I do think I think those scenes of her backstory just went on a little bit too long. I think that stuff with Sarah, her sister, could have been sped up, and I don't think we needed to see, because the thing is, there's a Claire Temple, Rosario Dawson had a cameo in this film. Obviously, it's when Peter's injured, probably. She's the night nurse, right? Her character is the night nurse from the comics.
Yeah.
They cut her cameo. And I knew when I heard her say that, I'm like, there are going to be about 30 other things that they probably could have cut before they cut your cameo.
Yeah.
And some of that could have been the scenes between Jean and her sister. Because there's two big chunky scenes with those two that I'm like, oh, both of these could have been trimmed down quite a bit. It's kind of the only time that I was getting a little bit on the board side.
The bit in the park.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
We know what they can do. We don't need to see the sister trying to teach Jean how to do what she does.
Yeah.
We know what she can do,
Yeah. There's no big mystery. We've been seeing her do it the whole film.
Yeah, the whole film. And I'm not even convinced we need to see the sister get kidnapped, because it's pretty clear what's happened. So
I wasn't either. I agree. I agree. I think that could go wholesale, and we could just find out, who Sarah is, her sister, but she's missing or she's dead or whatever. Then whatever. Then that's where it's sort of what are you after? Well, they took
Peter could deduce it, couldn't he? Peter could deduce it.
Yeah.
Jean sees the scrunchie, doesn't she? Her sister's scrunchie on the floor after she's annihilated the whole place.
Yeah.
And you think,
which was a cool scene.
Which is a cool scene. It only needs one line of exposition dialogue to do that whole scene in the park. And so I think that could go.
Yeah, you need. It's one of those things. Like overall, it's like this is it's good. It holds together, but there's just these little niggles along the way. But again, as I keep caveating to say, like I did really enjoy the film.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, these are just things that's it's a good film. These things just stop it from being great. That's the way I look at it.
I think the highlight for me though with this whole film was the Punisher stuff. Like I said from the very beginning, one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, I was going to see this film was because I love John Bernthal's Punisher, and I wanted to see him in live action on a big screen. And we talked about this in our episode on Daredevil and Punisher: One Last Kill. Could they adapt? Because One Last Kill is insanely violent.
Really violent.
More violent than 2 seasons of his show. I mean, he's quite violent in Daredevil season 2, but he's very fucking violent in One Last Kill. Which is someone on Twitter asked us, I can't remember who now, sorry, asked us like, oh, do I need to see One Last Kill? I'm like, no, that's just a refresher if you've never seen the character. That's all One Last Kill. It was great. Go see it if you've not, but that's all it is. So, but I thought they did a very good job PG-13 him, which I said earlier. But I really, really loved the relationship between him and Peter. I loved their back and forth. I loved their kind of bickering. I think the humor between them worked, and I felt because Punisher throughout the first and second series and stuff like that, and even in Daredevil, he always ends up connecting with someone. And humanizes him because he's such a fucking monster. He is a goddamn lunatic. So I'm more in Matt Murdock's camp here, where it's like, you are fucking insane and you need to be you need to be stopped because you're nuts. But like ultimately, but I thought I really bought into their relationship, and I thought, you know, when the beginning action scene was over, I was like, oh, I want more now. And so I was really glad that he is really heavily used in the latter half of the film. And I liked when they went to his house, which is in a boat in a dock somewhere. Yeah. I thought that was really rigged with tons and tons of booby traps. And you know, so I really liked their relationship. I really liked the way he, you know, Spider-Man pleaded with him to let MJ stay there, and he kind of reluctantly says, "Okay." And do you want some chili? I got some chili. You know, I thought that was quite fun.
I liked the whole bickering about who saved who on Staten Island.
That was fun. And I liked it's like, okay, look, and I bought it. I was like, okay, these two have met in the past. I don't need to see the meeting. I'm happy to just accept it. And, you know, at first I was like, wait, you just know him? And then I'm like, you know what? Roll with it. And I think it paid off. I was like, you know what? They've earned it. I'm fine with it. Especially at the end when he shoots him. And he realizes what he's done, and he's really remorseful. And it's like, for the first time, you see Punisher be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because he's never done that before in any of these on live, you know, adaptations of him within the MCU.
And then the implied sort of anxiety and all the rest of it, because he's been sitting by Peter's bedside for
very sweet.
Really sweet, you know.
And he cried.
I liked the mocking of it. Yeah, are you crying, Frank?
No.
And it's like, shut up. So I liked all that. And I think in terms of dialing him down from what he is as a character to make this a whatever certificate this is, that's a pretty tall order to remain faithful to the character and to retain the character's integrity for what he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure you could have done it better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a diehard Punisher fan, you'll think they've softened him. But if you're willing to accept that he's there in a film that isn't an 18, you know, or even a 15, that I think they do a pretty good job of it. There's still traces of Frank being a total psycho, you know.
Oh yeah,
but it's all done in dialogue. You know, stop shooting him, Frank, and stop. Frank, you've got to stop killing people.
Yeah.
And I'll say a couple of families with really small kids walked out when he was bullshitting and, you know, saying, you know, you arsehole.
Oh, what is this bullshit? He does. Yeah. They use like classic, like, you know, 90s cursing to let you know that he is a like rough and tumble.
He's rough. Yeah.
No, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
No, you shitting me.
I thought it was quite funny that people felt the need to walk out, but you know, that shouldn't bring your 6-year-old kid to a film with a Punisher in it, I guess.
I mean, exactly.
So, you know. But yeah, so I think Frank comes across really well in this. Yeah, he's toned down, but I think he's toned down just enough to get away with it. I think they retain what makes him a great character.
I think so.
And I like his sort of swerve into heroism, you know, rather than just being out and out psychopathic.
This is more in line with how he is in his series. He's very unhinged in Daredevil season 2. They sort of iron him out a lot more in his 2 seasons of his show. If you've not seen those, guys, go watch them. They're fantastic. And then One Last Kill is like, it's just another moment of like psychological breakdown for him that we've seen before, but they basically regurgitate it because they need and want the audience to remember who he is before Brand New Day came out. That's all. So it all to me, like it really worked and gelled, and like you can easily watch his shows and then go into this and be like, yep, that is definitely the same. So I was all for that. I loved it, but definitely the highlight. I just love seeing these two together. They had a really good back and forth, and now I'm like, having read that comic, I'm like, okay, now give me my fucking Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man movie.
Well, maybe the next one.
Jesus. Yes. Well, there we go. We can mention that now. I was they dick teased Daredevil being in this a lot. I thought he's in jail at the end of Born Again season 2, and he's and so you see him fighting. You see Spider-Man fighting the Hand of all people in what is a jail cell, literally called Cell Block D or Cell Block C, and he is in Cell Block D. And I'm like, is Cell Block D like just gonna be like another floor up or something? Like, is he gonna bust the door open and like he's gonna be in there and help him fight? Like that would be fucking awesome. And it just not there at all. And I just thought, well, and this is where I thought, okay, this was my one fuck you movie, because like, don't use the Hand. Your use of the Hand was now completely superfluous because it had nothing to do with your one character who has spent seasons of his show taking on, and the hand that resurrected Elektra is coming back in the new season of Born Again. Like, you could have had some connective tissue here, guys.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and again, either do it or don't. Don't give me a half measure, because you could have had connective tissue, but equally you could not have teased it and then disappointed.
Yeah,
which to me, this is the same sort of marketing cheat as all the villains at the beginning.
Kind of. It falls into that, and I was like, oh, that's a shame, because I wanted to see them just like beat the shit out of some people. I thought that would have been great. Well,
it would have been good to see them together. Even if it was just for one fight scene, it would have been good to see them together, because when Spider-Man is this good and Daredevil is as good as he is in the show, that would make the screen crackle.
Just imagine the scene. Mr. because he was his lawyer in the last film.
He was his lawyer in the last film.
Spider-Man, Mr. Murdoch, are you? They say you've been arrested for being Daredevil. Are you really Daredevil? Because that's the whole gimmick in the comics in the 90s. That's all of Bendis's run is, are you really Daredevil? No. Are you sure? Then he goes to jail. And Matt Murdock goes to jail, and he's like, are you Daredevil? No. Despite being in jail for possibly being Daredevil. Like, it's great. Like, he could have fought some ninjas while everyone else is fucking mind controlled and not seeing anything. It was right there for you, movie.
Yeah, it was there.
God damn it.
This is how I felt about Man Spider. This is how I felt about Man Spider. Give me what you're promising me.
Yeah. You're teasing something there intentionally and then not delivering. It's like, ah.
Yeah.
So those are my two big gripes. It's like, don't tease either of those things and not follow through on them, because that's just not fair.
It's cheap. Like that. It's a cheap gag, to get people in. I know I'm cynical, but that's what it came across as to me. Because, like you, I was thinking maybe, and when it started to happen, I was going, they're going to do it. He's going to get out of this web thing. Yeah. And he's going to have another set of arms. And no, he just landed in his boxers in an alleyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come on,
Yeah. The last thing I think I want to mention is MJ. This is the first time in all of these films that I finally bought their relationship. Yeah. I love the bit. Like I said, we've already mentioned the bit where Jean takes over. I was buying into that. I was like, oh wow, she's back, and she's remembered. They're in love again. Oh, that's nice. Maybe, I guess I'll accept it. And then that was great. But then just the whole like bursting into her house and being like, you're in danger. You've got to trust me. And she's like, okay. It doesn't play as well in the trailers, but it plays well in the actual film. But like the whole bit of her, again, like that bit at Daredevil's house, Punisher's house with all three of them, just really opened up these characters, and I bought the emotion between them finally. Like when Spider-Man's trying to fix his inhibitor and they're just talking, and you finally feel like actual yearning. This is the person that I love, I want to be with, but I don't know who I am. And you finally feel something between these two motherfuckers. Like finally.
Absolutely. And these are the bits. The bit on Frank's boat where they are bonding. He is making the inhibitor. And then there's the next bit when he comes back and she's read the letter.
Oh, that letter bit was amazing.
Those were two of my favorite scenes in the whole film.
Same.
And I thought to myself, wow, we're in a sort of this isn't all just sort of swingy, bangy, explosions and punches. We're in a film with heart here, and we're in a story with an emotional consequence, and that is always pleasing to see. Because too often in these films, for me personally, there's no come down time from one set piece to another, or not enough of it, for you to just sort of gather your thoughts. Here, full of it. And I thought, please don't spoil it. It was so well done. And this is the first time I've thought Zendaya gave a performance that was worth watching.
Yes. Because what's your point? I just want to add to what you're saying quickly. The low point of the movie is an emotional moment between Peter and Mary Jane. It's not the big action villain. The low point, the emotional low point, is that moment with the letter, and you're like, damn, this is great.
Yeah, this is good stuff. And I thought to myself, all the time it was unfolding, I thought, these two have really matured here. These two have started, like you say, they've now finally got a connection.
Clearly getting married helped them pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, maybe it did. And one of the bits that I could have applauded was when she says, I'm not in love with you because I don't know you.
I love that.
And she may have done, but she's not me, essentially, is what she says.
I did love
that. And I thought, fuck me, this is good stuff. This is really proper adult writing.
Yep.
This is what I've been dying to see from the MCU.
Yes.
Since those first few films.
Yes. It's not Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark.
No, it's not. No,
none of that shit. But yeah, no. So I really finally bought into this. I was like, she's not Mary Jane. She's still not MJ in the traditional sense. But also it was nice to see her doing sciencey stuff, because the whole time I kept thinking, what are you, MJ? Like in the first three films, I'm like, what are you?
This is a long way from that girl in the first one who says, I'm in detention because I just like drawing people. And you think, what the fuck are you talking about?
She was they were going for like this sort of ironic,
quirky, weird,
dark humor nonsense. I'm just like, fuck off. But then it was funny when like Spider-Man's like to Frank, oh, well, do you have and he's like, of course I've got all that. And then MJ's like, yeah, for making bombs. He's like, exactly. I like her. Like, I was like, yes, finally. I'm with Frank. I'm buying it now. Finally.
Well, but I feel the same. It's like we said when we started the show. It's like, finally we've got Spider-Man. Well, finally we've got some character to MJ as well.
Yeah, we've got it. We've got a real love interest we can buy into. And I said this on Twitter the other day. I was like, look, it's kind of nuts that we've never had an accurate or good portrayal of Mary Jane, of MJ, on the big screen, yet we've had multiple Gwen Stacy portrayals that are good, because I think Emma Stone is fantastic as like classic Gwen Stacy, but Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen is wonderful. She is just so fun. And both of those just feel like exactly how those two Gwen should be. Whereas I've yet to feel like I've seen Mary Jane Watson or MJ like properly. And obviously MJ in the Holland films isn't Mary Jane. She's Michelle, whatever the fuck, whatever.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
But this is the film that made me buy into whoever her character has meant to be this whole time. Again, this is where it's like, this is something that I think could have been cut wholesale as well, because it contributed very, very, very little. And I used the quote a little bit, but it's, these are the big potatoes that could have been cut. I didn't really care for Yelena's the Black Widow.
No.
Long story short, I just have never really bought into Florence Pugh's Widow. I mean, obviously she's a good actress. She's very good. The scene was funny when he got in the water with his mask on, and at one point he lifts his feet up. Like that was a very classic Peter Parker thing to do.
Yeah, I had to laugh at that moment. I had to laugh at that.
That was good. I thought that was funny. But I just sort of thought like, well, I don't really know why we're talking to her. Like, she's not, she doesn't solve any problems that I recall. He just updates her with information for reasons.
She gives him information. She's a Deus Ex Machina, isn't she?
Kinda, yeah.
She's not quite, is she? I don't mean that, but she's just like her whole purpose could be served better, I think, if Peter did a bit of detective work. We haven't got time for him to find this out himself. He's got to go to someone who just knows everything.
The flip side is I actually was fine with Mark Ruffalo's the Hulk. I thought going to the school to go talk to your professor who you used to know, who knows a thing or two about what you're kind of going through, like that actually made sense to me. What didn't make sense is that, like, why did it take Gene so long to go like get the Hulk to go bash the door down? But whatever. I'll take it.
Well, okay. I've two things. I've said I love the fight with the Hulk. Absolutely love it. But to me, it was just visual padding. Although I enjoyed it. Yeah. So I could do without the Hulk, but I do fully understand why Banner's there, because Banner is the first person you go to. You know. Yeah. And I think again, Mark Ruffalo's Banner in this far less. I don't know. I've never liked his.
He's
Banner.
like Banner in the Avengers, and that's the only time I've liked
everyone
Banner.
Everyone seems to have gone back to when they were better at this. You know,
yes.
It's almost as if they've sort of shaken off the blasé. You know, whatever.
It's almost as if someone at Marvel thought, "Crap, no one is liking anything that we're doing. We need to return to basics for all. We need
to go back to basics." Yeah. But I had that same question. Why did she use the Hulk in the first place? Why does Jean not just use? Why does she not just go into Metzger? We don't know.
The script didn't go that. The script said no. The script said no.
Because we needed to have the Hulk and we needed to have all this other stuff.
I mean, there's that line in there during the classroom scene that was like, well, if Thanos just wiped out everyone, half the population, why didn't he just like make more food? And everyone just sort of stops and like, that is the film being like, don't ask questions. This is like Austin Powers of like, this time travel in this. Don't think about it. Just have fun.
Well, and I suppose it's the old Harrison Ford thing to Mark Hamill in it. You know, if they're looking at your hair,
kind of movie kid.
It's not that kind of movie kid. If they're looking at your hair, we're in trouble. I mean, you know, but I did think to myself, I reckon you could have given me some sort of gizmo that he's got that means that you can't do it. Whatever.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think if the inhibitor that he was using prohibited psychic control. Because the thing is, the inhibitor has been broken off his arm. So how did that happen? We don't really know how she got control of him. You know, so that's the thing. It's like they could have explained that. They could have cut back other things to like show like she's followed Peter to him and is like, you know, listening to that conversation or something. I don't know. You know, there could have been a thing. You know, but or they could have said like, you know, all the people working at that place have some sort of psychic block.
Well, that's what I mean. You could have told me that like damage control has just got some sort of lead lining or something. Yeah.
Or they're carrying something on them. They have something on them that's similar to the inhibitor. Yeah. Something. I would have bought that totally. You know, because but I did think when she was captured and she was put in that room, I'm like, ooh, is this like a proto Cerebro?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that I kind of think that's what we're getting at here. We're getting at like a proto Cerebro, which I was like, okay. That's
and I did think all that was like terrifying.
It was. It was nicely done.
The whole way that was staged and was really quite unnerving, I thought. And what I like, you know, this film sort of pulls no punches. This film doesn't really, it's not afraid to give you something that will unsettle you. It's, you know, to that extent, it's not a very safe film. I don't think it's, you know, in many ways it is, but it's willing to do things. And to me, this is like a huge shot of spider adrenaline into the whole superhero movie genre. Yeah. It really is, because
it's made me interested in Spider-Man on the big screen again.
Yeah, and for me, I have had superhero fatigue, you know, because I just think, how many more can they do? You know, and this has really sort of made me reevaluate that and say, well, actually, there's life in the old dog yet. Maybe if they just put a bit more effort into it and don't rest on the laurels, which I think is what they've been doing for the last 15 years. You know,
definitely, and it's a shame because I mean, at the moment, like, the MCU is going through a thing. I'll be honest, I'm terrified about the prospects of Daredevil getting renewed for a 4th season, because they just announced that Wonder Man isn't going to get a 2nd season, even though they already announced that it was going to get a 2nd season, and it's been a widely praised show, Emmy nominated show.
Yeah. And they don't
And they're
do
like,
another.
they're like, nah. And it's frustrating because, like, you know, I've recently just been binging a bunch of Marvel stuff that I've not seen before. I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm like, my God, that was great. Like, it's got some problems, but it was really good. And I'm like, this should have just been Captain America 4. I don't know, like, why did you do Brave New World? Because that was fucking awful. This was great. This was Sam's journey to accepting the shield, and it was, and you had Bucky there, and it was great. It was like I liked that more than Civil War. I was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
But like the problem is Marvel have just, you know, I watched Hawkeye. Shockingly enough, I loved Hawkeye.
Yeah,
to the point where I went out and bought the fucking action figures of Kate Bishop and Clint Barton from the show. Like, they're over there on my shelf. They came today. Like, I was like, this was stupidly good. Like, I did not expect this to be good and actually have heart and soul to it. And then I realized basically what Marvel have been doing, they've just been throwing shit at the wall, but they don't give that any attention and they don't give it any fucking follow through. That's like we had Sam and Bucky in a show together, and then in the film they're not together. Why? Basically, the problem is that Marvel have had all of these actors, all of these characters come onto the scene, and then they just didn't do. It's like introducing Tony Stark and then doing nothing with him.
Exactly.
After Iron Man 1, that's basically what they've been doing since Endgame.
And that's really
here we are.
Yeah, and that's really what I was getting at when I said it's not enough just to have Spider-Man on the screen. He's got to be the character that people have come to love over the last 50 years, whatever it is. You know, so it's not enough to just have these superheroes appear for what is essentially a sort of, oh great, there he is moment. If then he just pisses off and does nothing.
The real shame is that the characters that they have set up have been interesting. So like Kate Bishop, I loved her. I'm like, I want more of her. She's great. It made me go buy the comics because I'm like, and then I'm like falling in love with her in the comics. I'm like, her relationship with Clint is awesome. And it's like, I really liked Monica Rambeau, who was in the Marvels. She was one of the other kind of Captain Marvels, and she's also in WandaVision. She's awesome. And then at the end of the Marvels, she is in another universe, wakes up in the X-Men infirmary with Beast. Now the rumor is that she's going to be only a cameo in Doomsday and will be ill, so she won't have anything to do with the plot. And I'm like, you set her up to be in the X-Men universe that we're going to be, and you're telling me now that she's ill.
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me? What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like this is why, and then so you know this is why I'm like, you know, they're clean slating basically. Secret Wars is going to clean the slate. They're gonna refresh the Marvel universe, but at what expense? And truly, I'm like, I just worry for the future of Daredevil Born Again. I'm like, I think season 3 might be the end. If they don't announce a series 4 at D23, I'm like, I think I need to prepare myself for there being no more Daredevil, because the fact that they're canceling, but they canceled Wonder Man, they're not talking about anything else. There's this talk about pivoting away from the shows and just going back to like films, but doing fewer films of better quality. And I'm like, can you just learn to juggle the both? Because you did it for a period of like 2015 to 2019 when you had your films and your Netflix shows, and you also had 7 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. Like, how can you be fucking this up so hard right now? Like, so I don't understand it.
No,
I just don't.
No. And that's what I've felt like that for decades, it seems. And this new Spider-Man has been the first time I've sat up and taken notice.
Yes. And it's made me think, crap, it's like, great, this is great. Punisher's come in here. That's great. I want to now see Daredevil come into these films, but I want to see Daredevil continue on his show and bring Punisher back and bring Spider-Man in for a run on one of those shows.
Yeah.
Like exactly. in Daredevil. That, like, this is what you need to be doing. That's going to bring, if you don't have a show, you basically need a flagship show. And Daredevil was Netflix's flagship Marvel show. And they need to remember that's what people loved, and to not ditch it and focus it, because Jessica Jones and Daredevil were massive hits.
Yeah,
these are 2 great street level things that you could use to keep your Luke Cages, to keep your Marvel street level stuff, to have your little cameos. It's all fucking there. Don't squander it but I'm worrying that they're about to. But hey, Spider-Man Brand New Day was a good time.
A damn good time, and a huge improvement on what has been.
This is where it's like when people talk about superhero fatigue, it's like, no, I tweeted about this as well. It's like, it's not that there's superhero fatigue. It's that there are just gross miscalculations of the appeal of certain characters and how they're presented. Like Supergirl is a gross miscalculation. This was the right calculation because it's bringing all the fans who love the original his three other films, but it's also bringing people like us back who have felt that those others don't connect with us, but this now does. And it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I can come back to this now.
This version of Tom Holland Spider-Man is second only to like Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man, although the films aren't great. But now he can sit on a par with those with Maguire, Garfield, and himself. I'm quite happy with these three as the Spider-Men of my generation, as it were.
What is happening to me? Did you miss me, Spidey? I'm losing my mind. I am totally out of control. I gotta fix whatever this is right now.
It appears we're faced with a threat we can't control. One we can't even see. You're the only one who's immune to it. You're the only one who can sense it.
And what do you think they're looking for? You're not gonna get away with this.
But he might.
I didn't know you could get that big.
Who the hell is that?
Who the hell are you?
Frank, please. I don't have anywhere else to go.
By the people who love you,
Just gonna let him go by himself?
love you because you're you.
If you're gonna do something, you better do it now.
Never forget that. No matter how powerful you become.
I miss you, May.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we saw it. I'm glad that we both had good reactions to it, and
me too.
I'm pumped to see it again and also listen to the score because I like the music. There's some really good orchestral music here and some really good songs that have been added to the film. So and unlike Guardians of the Galaxy, they're not like in your face, hey, you know this song. They're actually really good. Like it's a really good mix.
It's
enjoy
a good
it.
soundtrack. Yeah, it's a good soundtrack. In fact,
Very good.
if I do go and see it again, that will decide whether I sort of get the soundtrack because I think it's worth having.
I was listening to it on the way home I have Apple Music, so I was just listening to it on Apple Music, and I was having a great time. But yeah, so hey, we will be back next week with another investigation. Thanks for tuning in to this one. In the meantime, take care walking down those mean cinematic streets.